Level 1. The weight of everything. You are born into a world that already has plans for you. A name, a role, a place in the order of things. Your father is a banker in Sinope, a man of coins, a man of ledgers, and from the moment you can walk, you are expected to become the same. You watch him count money in the lamplight. His eyes never lift, his hands never stop, and even as a child, something in you whispers, is this it? The city hums around you. Merchants shout, soldiers march, priests pray to gods they have never seen. Everyone is moving, everyone is busy, but no one is awake. You grow up in the noise of Sinope, a coastal city, salt in the air, ships coming and going, every ship carrying something someone decided was valuable: gold, grain, silk, spice. You watch the men unload cargo and wonder, who decided what is worth? Who taught everyone to agree? And why? Why does no one question it? Level 2. The fire that breaks everything. Then comes the day that destroys you, or the day that frees you. You are working with your father, the coins, the silver, the endless counting, and then a decision is made, whether by you, by your father, by accident or intention. The histories argue. The coins are debased, altered, defaced, and Sinope explodes. The city turns on your family like a wave turns on the shore. Traitors, criminals, exiles. You are stripped of your citizenship. Your father is imprisoned, and you are cast out. No home, no name, no city. You stand at the edge of Sinope with nothing but the clothes on your back, and you wait for the grief to swallow you. But it doesn't. Something strange happens instead. You look back at the city, at the walls, the temples, the money changers at their tables, and you feel light, like a rope has been cut, like a stone has been lifted from your chest, and you think they've punished me. They have no idea what they've given me. You start walking, you don't know where, but for the first time in your life, direction doesn't matter. Level 3, Athens, and the joke of civilization Athens, the greatest city in the world, they say. Philosophy, democracy, culture. You arrive and you look around, and you laugh, not a polite laugh, not a quiet laugh, a real one, from somewhere deep, because Athens is just sign up with better columns. The same hunger, the same pretense, the same men in expensive robes talking about virtue while their slaves carry their sandals. You meet Antisthenes, a student of Socrates. He doesn't want you. He says, I don't take students. You follow him anyway. He raises his walking stick to strike you. You lean into it. You say, go ahead, find a stick hard enough to drive me away. He stares at you, and something shifts because he recognizes it, the thing inside you that cannot be moved by pain, by pride, by shame. He becomes your teacher, but not for long, because you are not built to sit at anyone's feet. You listen, you absorb, you take what is true, and you throw away everything else. The cynics say, live according to nature, not convention. You decide to take that seriously, more seriously than anyone thought possible, more seriously than anyone thought sane. Level 4. The barrel, the choice, the clarity. You find a large ceramic jar, a pithos. Some will call it a barrel. It doesn't matter. What matters is this: you move into it, and the philosophers in their academies laugh, the citizens point, children throw things, and you sit in your jar, and you feel more at home than you ever did in your father's house, because here is the truth no one wants to say aloud. A home is not a building. A home is what you are comfortable being. You own nothing. A cloak, a staff, a clay bowl. One day you watch a child drink from cupped hands. You look at your bowl. You look at the child. You throw the bowl away because even that was too much. You look at the Athenians rushing past to their jobs, their appointments, their important meetings about important things, and you think, they spend their whole lives building cages and calling them houses. They spend their whole lives earning money to buy things that make them need more money. They are the ones sleeping in barrels. I am the one who is free. This is not bitterness. This is clarity. There is a difference. Level 5. Daylight and the lantern. You carry a lantern through Athens in broad daylight. People stare. Someone asks, "What are you doing?" You say, "I am looking for an honest man." They laugh. You don't, because you've been looking for years, and you have not found one. Not in the marketplace, not in the courts, not in the temples, not in the schools of philosophy where men debate justice without ever practicing it. The lantern is not a joke. The lantern is a verdict. You walk through the agora and you see it all with terrible clarity. The merchant who cheats on the weight of his grain, the politician who speaks of the people while lining his pockets, the philosopher who argues endlessly about the good life while surrounded by servants who have no life at all. And you hold up your lantern not to find the honest man, but to show everyone else how dark it is. Some mornings you sit at the entrance to the market and you eat your breakfast there. Openly, shamelessly, people are scandalized. He eats in public, like an animal. And you think, yes, at least the animal doesn't pretend. At least the animal doesn't dress up its hunger in ritual and call it dignity. You are beginning to understand something enormous. That shame, most human shame, is not about right and wrong. It is about being seen doing what everyone secretly does anyway. Level 6. Alexander and the Shadow. Then comes the day the most powerful man on earth stands in front of you. Alexander, son of Philip, conqueror of nations, beloved of gods and men. He has heard of you. Even kings collect rumors. He finds you lying in the sun outside Athens. He stands over you with his army behind him, and he says, with genuine admiration, some say, "I am Alexander the Great. Ask me for anything." The world holds its breath. This is the moment. This is where a wise man gains a patron, a protector. This is where a smart man plays the game. You look up at him, you squint, and you say, "Stand out of my sunlight." Silence. His generals tense. This is treason. This is madness. This is. Alexander laughs, a real laugh, and he says to his men, "If I were not Alexander, I would wish to be Diogenes." They ride away, and you watch them go, and you think quietly, "And if I were not Diogenes, I would pity him, because he is going to spend his life conquering the world. And the world cannot be owned. He will die of it. You, lying in the sun with nothing, you have already won." Level 7. The animal. They fear. They call you the dog. Kuon. Cynicos. Cynic. It is meant as an insult. You take it as a crown, because a dog does not pretend. A dog sleeps where it is comfortable, eats what is available, shows its teeth when threatened and its belly when content. A dog does not perform virtue at dinner parties. A dog does not accumulate wealth it doesn't need. A dog does not lie to itself. "I am the dog," you say, "and you are the ones who should be ashamed. You defecate in public once when no one gives you privacy. You are offensive, deliberately, precisely, surgically offensive, because offense is the sharpest tool of the philosopher who cannot afford expensive ones. You shock people out of their sleep. That is your work. Not writing scrolls, not building schools, not training students in marble halls. Your philosophy is performed with your body, with your presence, with your refusal. Every time you sit unbothered while men rage around you, you are teaching. Every time you walk past a temple without bowing, you are teaching. Every time you eat your cheap food with genuine pleasure, while a rich man pretends his gold makes his bread taste better, you are teaching. The lesson is always the same. You need less than they told you. You are freer than you know. The cage is mostly in your mind. Level 8. The darkness under the clarity but. Here is the part the stories leave out. It is cold sometimes. The jar is cold. The stone is cold. The cloak is never quite enough. And there are moments, late, when Athens sleeps and even the dogs are quiet, when something moves inside you that is not philosophy. It is just longing, not for wealth, not for what they have, but for something warmer than principle. You think about your father dying in a prison in Sinope because of coins, because of metal, and the grief moves through you like a cold wind. You don't have a philosophy for this moment, you just have the dark, and the sound of the city breathing, and the weight of having chosen a life that most people will never understand. This is the cost. No one tells you this at the beginning. Freedom has a texture that isn't always beautiful. Sometimes it is just empty. Sometimes you wonder if the man who built the cage is warmer than the man who burned it down. And then the sun comes up, and you remember you chose this not because it was easy, but because everything else was a lie you couldn't keep living. And you get up, and you put the cloak back on, and you walk back out into the world you've rejected, because rejecting it at least is real. Level 9. What you actually believe. Let's be honest now. In the quiet, just you and whatever this moment actually is. You don't hate people, you love them. That is the secret. That is the thing that would surprise everyone who ever watched you mock a king, or insult a magistrate, or eat in the marketplace like a satisfied animal. You love them. You love the baker who works before sunrise. You love the child who hasn't learned to be ashamed yet. You love the old woman who argues with the gods like they are her neighbors. You love the young man who comes to you with real questions in his eyes, not performance. What you hate, what you have always hated, is the waste. The waste of a life spent chasing what you were told to want. The waste of a mind that could think, choosing instead to agree. The waste of a human being. This extraordinary, impossible, temporary thing spending itself on status, on coins, on the opinion of people who are also wasting themselves. The foundation of every state is the education of its youth, you believe. But education into what? Into hunger for things that don't satisfy? Into the endless loop of want and get and want again? You think, what if we taught them instead to sit in the sun and know that the sun is enough? What if we taught them that the examined life is not the achievement of something, but the letting go of almost everything? What if the most radical act available to a human being is simply to need less? Level 10. The end and what it means. You are old now. How old exactly? No one knows. You have outlived philosophers and kings and empires. You have watched Athens change and stay exactly the same. And you lie down. In Corinth now. Still in your jar, they say. Or perhaps just in the street. It doesn't matter. What matters is this: you are not afraid. They used to ask you, Diogenes, what should be done with your body when you die? And you would say, throw it outside the city walls. But the animals will eat it, they'd say. Then put a stick beside me so I can drive them off. But you'll be dead. You won't be able to. And you'd smile. Then it won't matter, will it? Even death is a performance for most people. Elaborate tombs, expensive rituals, monuments to say, I was here, I mattered, remember me? And you think the tree that falls in the forest doesn't need a monument. It simply falls and feeds something else. And that is enough. You close your eyes, not with triumph, not with sadness, with the quiet particular satisfaction of a person who did exactly what they came here to do. You came to ask the question, not to answer it. You came to hold up the lantern, not to find the light. You came to stand in the sunlight and to ask a man who wanted to give you the world to please kindly step aside. And somewhere across 24 centuries, in a traffic jam, in a cubicle, in a boardroom, in a school desk, in a mind that is tired of wanting things it doesn't need, someone hears you, and for just 1 second, they put down their phone and look at the sky and think, maybe, maybe, maybe this is already enough. You were Diogenes. You owned nothing. You needed nothing. And you were the freest man who ever lived.